It might surprise you, but eating the wrong type of meat after age 65 could raise your risk of heart disease by over 60%. The most unsettling part? Many seniors have no idea they're doing it. These meats don't come with a warning label. They look harmless, smell delicious, and often bring back warm memories of family dinners or weekend breakfasts. But behind that comfort lies a quiet threat: meats that are silently fueling inflammation, stressing your kidneys, and possibly even accelerating memory loss. As someone who's worked with older adults for over a decade, I've seen the long-term damage unfold firsthand. One of my patients, a 71-year-old man, thought he was eating clean, until we uncovered that his go-to lunch meat was pushing his blood pressure through the roof and adding strain to his aging kidneys. And that's exactly why this video might be one of the most important things you watch today. Just one type of meat, often viewed as a weekend treat, may be damaging your brain, clogging your arteries, and igniting internal inflammation faster than your body can repair it. And yet, most doctors don't talk about it until the consequences have already set in. So let me ask, what if that innocent-looking meat in your fridge, the one you think is totally fine, is actually taking years off your life without you knowing? Think you know which one it is? Comment your guess below. Bacon, ham, steak, or something else? If you care about keeping your heart strong, your mind sharp, and your independence intact, do yourself a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover 3 meats that seniors should never touch, and 3 powerful, nutrient-dense ones that can actually help you age better from the inside out. The good news is, the solution isn't expensive, complicated, or extreme. It's about making smarter choices rooted in science and supported by real-life outcomes. So if you're ready, let's start with the first offender. It's crispy, it's nostalgic, and for many, it's the taste of Sunday mornings. But for seniors, it may also be the silent killer hiding behind the sizzle. Let's talk about bacon. Now that we've uncovered just how risky the wrong meats can be after 65, it's time to get specific. Because not all meat is created equal, and some can quietly accelerate the very conditions you've spent years trying to avoid. High blood pressure, clogged arteries, joint stiffness, even early memory decline. These aren't just a result of aging. In many cases, they're fueled by what's on your plate, especially the types of meat that seem harmless, familiar, or even comforting. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the top 3 offenders, meats that every senior should seriously consider cutting back on or removing altogether. These aren't rare or exotic. In fact, you've likely eaten one of them in the past week. That's what makes them dangerous. They hide in plain sight, posing as everyday staples while quietly undermining your heart, your brain, and your long-term strength. Don't worry, this isn't about giving up flavor or tradition. It's about understanding what your aging body can no longer afford to process the same way it used to. So let's break it down. First up is a meat that's beloved by millions, but for seniors, may be doing more harm than good: bacon. 1. Bacon, the silent killer behind the crispy layer of fat. It's crispy, familiar, and for many, the smell of bacon sizzling in the pan brings back memories of lazy Sunday mornings or breakfast with family. But for seniors, bacon is far more than a nostalgic treat. It can be a hidden hazard that chips away at your health without warning. Behind that golden crunch lies a dangerous mix of saturated fat, sodium, and chemical preservatives that specifically target the systems that weaken as we age: the heart, the brain, and the blood vessels. Here's the hard truth: bacon is a silent killer hiding behind the sizzle. As someone who's worked with older adults for over a decade, I've seen the quiet damage it causes. One patient of mine in his 70s had normal cholesterol for years, until his daily habit of just a few strips caught up to him. His arteries hardened, his blood pressure spiked, and he couldn't understand why. That's because what makes bacon dangerous isn't just the fat, it's the nitrates and nitrites used to cure it. Once inside your body, these preservatives can turn into nitrosamines, carcinogenic compounds linked to colon, stomach, and pancreatic cancer. The World Health Organization even classifies processed meats like bacon as Group 1 carcinogens, placing them in the same category as asbestos and tobacco smoke. For seniors, whose cellular repair slows with age, the impact is even more severe and far less reversible. But it gets worse. Bacon also contains high levels of advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, toxic compounds formed when meat is fried or grilled at high heat. These AGEs trigger oxidative stress and silent inflammation, 2 major drivers behind heart disease, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and accelerated aging. The heartbreaking part? Many seniors eat bacon because it brings them comfort. It reminds them of childhood, of simpler times. But that comfort may come at the cost of mobility, memory, and precious years of life. The more frequently bacon appears on your plate, the more you feed the very conditions that rob you of independence. And contrary to popular belief, there's no safe amount of processed bacon for those over 65. Even 1 or 2 servings a week can contribute to long-term harm, especially for those managing high blood pressure, diabetes, or kidney issues. So the next time that smell hits the air, I urge you to pause. What you're smelling isn't just flavor, it might be the beginning of silent damage. Your aging body deserves foods that heal, not harm. And while letting go of bacon may feel like losing a friend, sometimes the most dangerous friendships are the ones that bring comfort while quietly taking something from you. The good news is, knowledge gives you power, and power gives you freedom to choose better. But bacon isn't the only everyday meat silently working against your health. There's another one, served at cookouts, deli counters, and inside your lunchtime sandwich that hides behind convenience, and it may be even more deceptive. Let's talk about processed meats next. 2. Processed meat, convenient but stealing health. Processed meats are everywhere, stacked neatly in supermarket coolers, tucked into sandwiches, wrapped in foil at backyard cookouts. And for many older adults, they offer something incredibly tempting: convenience. A few slices of ham, a hot dog on the grill, a turkey sandwich for lunch, it all feels easy, familiar, and even comforting. But here's the painful truth. The easier the meat, the harder it is on your body. I've watched too many seniors pay a steep price for choosing what seemed like a harmless shortcut. One woman I worked with, age 68, told me she lived alone and often didn't have the energy to cook. She'd grab a pack of cold cuts or a sausage roll thinking it was a light meal. Months later, she was facing high blood pressure, early kidney stress, and brain fog she couldn't shake. What she didn't realize, and what many seniors don't, is that processed meats are a slow-moving threat. These meats, like deli slices, hot dogs, salami, sausages, and packaged ham, are not just heavily salted. They're pumped full of nitrates, nitrites, artificial preservatives, and sodium. And while these additives preserve taste and shelf life, they also wreak havoc on your blood vessels, kidneys, and immune systems already under pressure with age. The World Health Organization has officially linked processed meats to a higher risk of colorectal cancer, noting that just 50 grams per day, about 2 slices of deli meat, increases your cancer risk by 18%. That's not hype, it's a data-backed warning. And the consequences aren't always obvious. They creep in as water retention, headaches, joint pain, or sudden drops in energy. For older adults already juggling medications, weaker kidneys, or early signs of memory decline, processed meats act like fuel poured on a slow-burning fire. And here's your hook to remember: the more convenient the meat, the more expensive the consequences. What feels like a 5-minute fix today could become a 5-year struggle tomorrow. Even worse, many of these meats are marketed as lean or low-fat, fooling people into thinking they're making healthy choices. But lean doesn't mean clean, and when the meat is cured, smoked, and artificially preserved, you're inviting a wave of silent inflammation straight into your bloodstream. That's why I urge you, don't let packaging or convenience trick you. Your body isn't as resilient as it once was, and it shouldn't have to fight unnecessary battles. The truth is, your health in your 70s and beyond is built not by giant changes, but by small, smart choices every day. Avoiding processed meats may feel like a sacrifice at first, but what you gain in clarity, mobility, and longevity is worth every adjustment. And as damaging as bacon and lunch meats can be, they're still not the most deceptive option. There's one more meat, praised for its richness, often served rare, that might look like luxury, but for seniors, could quietly be draining your strength from the inside out. Let's talk about red meat next. 3. Rare red meat from industrial farms, delicious but poses a danger. For many, a juicy, medium-rare steak feels like the ultimate reward, something rich, indulgent, and deeply satisfying. And especially in our golden years, it's tempting to enjoy those moments of pleasure without guilt. But as someone who has worked closely with older adults for more than a decade, I can tell you this: what may taste like strength on the tongue may actually be draining it from your body day by day, bite by bite. While red meat does offer iron and protein, its real impact depends on how it's sourced, prepared, and metabolized, especially in aging bodies. The trouble begins when the meat comes from grain-fed, industrially raised livestock, often pumped with hormones and fed inflammatory diets. These meats are harder to digest, higher in saturated fats, and more taxing on your kidneys and liver, two organs that naturally slow down with age. Add to that the common habit of undercooking red meat to keep the flavor, and you introduce another layer of risk. Bacteria like E. coli and listeria that your immune system may no longer be strong enough to handle. But beyond infection, the deeper danger is something most seniors never hear about: chronic inflammation. Red meat, particularly when cooked at high heat, grilled, pan-seared, or charred, produces harmful compounds called HCAs and PAHs, which are linked to increased cancer risk, especially in the colon and prostate. Combine that with arachidonic acid, a naturally occurring fat in red meat that fuels inflammatory responses, and you've got a perfect storm: joint pain, memory fog, stiff blood vessels, and faster aging at the cellular level. And here's the hook you can't ignore: the red meat on your plate might be feeding inflammation your body can no longer fight off. Seniors who live with arthritis, cardiovascular issues, or fatigue often don't realize their dinner is part of the problem. One patient of mine, an active 75-year-old, was shocked to learn that his frequent steak dinners were sabotaging the progress we made with physical therapy and circulation. Even the iron in red meat, while essential, is a double-edged sword. In younger bodies, it helps transport oxygen. But in older adults, excess iron can accumulate and fuel oxidative stress, increasing the risk of degenerative diseases. That doesn't mean red meat is evil, but it does mean we must treat it with caution. Choosing grass-fed, well-cooked, smaller portions occasionally is far safer than making it a regular habit. If you want to protect your brain, joints, and long-term vitality, it's time to look beyond the taste and ask, what is this meat costing me? The answer, often, is more than we think. But here's the good news: not all meats harm. In fact, there are 3 powerful meats that can actively support your aging body, boosting memory, reducing inflammation, and rebuilding strength from the inside out. Let's explore them now, starting with the one that swims upstream to protect your brain: wild-caught salmon. Now that we've uncovered the meats that may be quietly working against your health, it's time to shift our focus, because not all meat is the enemy. In fact, when chosen wisely, certain meats can be powerful allies in the fight against aging. They don't just satisfy hunger, they actively protect your heart, sharpen your mind, and strengthen your muscles. For seniors, the right proteins can mean the difference between fatigue and energy, between stiffness and mobility, between confusion and clarity. And here's what I've learned after more than a decade working in senior wellness: aging isn't just about what you avoid, it's also about what you choose to embrace. That's why in this next part, we'll explore 3 nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory meats that support longevity, independence, and vitality. These aren't exotic, expensive, or hard to prepare. They're practical, accessible, and backed by science. If you've been wondering how to keep your body strong, your brain sharp, and your immune system resilient after 65, this next section is for you. Let's start with a fish that does more than swim. It protects your memory, balances your mood, and fuels your heart from the inside out. Let's talk about wild-caught salmon. 1. Wild salmon, meat for the mind. In the world of meat, few options carry as much healing power as wild-caught salmon. It's not just food, it's fuel for the aging brain, a quiet force that strengthens from within. For seniors facing natural changes like slower memory, fatigue, and joint discomfort, this fish is more than a meal. It's a form of medicine nature crafted with care. What makes it so remarkable? First, its high concentration of omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, which are essential for brain health, cardiovascular function, and emotional stability. These nutrients aren't just helpful, they're protective. Studies from Harvard and the Journal of the American Geriatric Society show that seniors who regularly consume omega-3s experience slower brain aging, better memory retention, and even improved sleep and mood. But the benefits don't stop with the brain. Wild-caught salmon actively reduces inflammation, improves blood vessel flexibility, and lowers triglycerides, critical factors in preventing strokes and heart attacks, which remain leading causes of death among those over 65. What's even more powerful is that salmon contains astaxanthin, the pink antioxidant pigment that ranks among the most potent anti-aging compounds in science. Unlike many meats that burden aging digestion, salmon's soft, flaky texture makes it gentle to chew and absorb, even for those with dental issues or sensitive stomachs. And it's refreshingly clean. No artificial hormones, no antibiotics, and far less saturated fat than red or processed meats. For someone living with hypertension, mild kidney strain, or cognitive fog, these details matter. I once worked with a 74-year-old woman who struggled with forgetfulness and low energy. We added wild salmon to her meals just twice a week, baked with olive oil and herbs, and within a month, her energy stabilized and she felt mentally sharper. Here's the hook to remember. This isn't trendy, it's timeless. Salmon is a foundational food for healthy aging. It doesn't just fill your stomach, it restores your rhythm, supports memory, and protects against the silent wear and tear of time. Even just 2 to 3 servings per week can make a measurable difference in how you think, feel, and function. And the best part? It tastes amazing and can be prepared simply, grilled, steamed, or baked, with ingredients you already have at home. So if you've ever wondered whether food can act like medicine, the answer is yes. And salmon is one of the finest examples. But don't stop here. While salmon reigns as king of brain-boosting proteins, it's not the only meat that matters. There's another food, far more common, often overlooked, that supports muscle strength, immune balance, and emotional well-being with every bite. It's affordable, versatile, and shockingly effective in the fight against frailty. Let's talk about free-range chicken next. 2. Free-range chicken, gentle strength. In a world filled with diet trends and overhyped superfoods, sometimes the most powerful solutions are the simplest. And when it comes to daily strength and resilience for seniors, few foods deliver quiet power like free-range chicken. Often dismissed as just chicken, this humble protein source is actually one of the most practical and healing choices older adults can make. As we age, our bodies naturally lose muscle mass in a process called sarcopenia, which leads to weakness, slower recovery, and higher fall risk. That's where high-quality protein, rich in leucine, the amino acid vital for muscle repair, makes all the difference. Free-range chicken is gentle on aging digestion, easier on the kidneys compared to red meats, and provides steady, reliable support without the inflammatory baggage. What sets it apart is not just what it has, but what it leaves out. Free-range birds are raised without hormones or routine antibiotics, and because they move more naturally, their meat has a healthier fat profile and greater nutritional integrity. I've seen firsthand how simply replacing factory-farmed chicken with true free-range options helped an 80-year-old patient regain stamina and reduce joint stiffness just by eating smarter. Beyond protein, free-range chicken also provides a rich supply of vitamin B6, which plays a crucial role in mood regulation, sleep cycles, and brain function, areas that often become fragile in later life. It's also a natural source of zinc for immune defense and niacin for cellular energy. These nutrients, while often overlooked, act like scaffolding beneath your overall vitality. And here's a truth worth remembering. You don't need exotic foods or complicated supplements to age well. You just need clean, consistent nourishment. That's where chicken shines. It's affordable, familiar, and incredibly adaptable, whether roasted, gently grilled, simmered into soup, or shredded into salads. And for seniors with chewing or swallowing difficulties, its tender texture makes meals enjoyable again, not a struggle. Here's the hook to hold on to. Free-range chicken is the quiet guardian of senior independence. It doesn't make headlines, but it fortifies the body day after day. And when eaten regularly, it supports not only your strength but your confidence. Because when your legs feel steady, your posture upright, and your energy stable, everything else feels possible. I've often told my patients, don't chase superfoods, trust the ones that have supported generations before you. And chicken, raised right, is exactly that. Still, even with all its benefits, chicken isn't the end of the story. There's one more meat that deserves a place on your plate, though it's not what most people expect. It's not flashy, and it's certainly not trendy. But for seniors looking to sharpen memory, boost energy, and support deep, cellular-level health, this might be the most powerful food of all. Let's talk about grass-fed beef liver, nature's original multivitamin. Next. 3. Beef liver eats grass, natural multivitamin. It's not glamorous. It's not trendy. And let's be honest, most people don't crave it. But when it comes to nutrient density, few foods on earth can match grass-fed beef liver. For seniors, this often overlooked organ meat is more than just a source of nourishment. It's a lifeline for energy, clarity, and strength in the later years of life. I've seen it work wonders with patients who felt like their vitality was slipping away. One man in his late 70s came to me saying, "I feel like I'm fading." He wasn't sick, just tired, foggy, and uninspired. We added beef liver to his meals twice a week. Within a month, he was brighter, sharper, and more present. That's no coincidence. Grass-fed beef liver is packed with bioavailable vitamin B12, a critical nutrient for brain function, nerve health, and energy metabolism. Many older adults suffer from undiagnosed B12 deficiency and mistake the symptoms, fatigue, forgetfulness, mood swings, for normal aging. But sometimes, the issue isn't age, it's malnutrition at a cellular level. Liver delivers B12 in its most usable form, alongside heme iron, which supports oxygen flow to the brain and muscles, key for preventing anemia and boosting endurance. But that's just the beginning. Beef liver is also rich in retinol, active vitamin A for vision and immunity, folate for red blood cell production, zinc and copper for immune strength, choline for cognitive support, and even CoQ10, a powerhouse antioxidant that supports heart health and mitochondrial energy. No synthetic multivitamin can replicate that synergy. And here's your hook to remember. If wild salmon fuels the brain and chicken supports your strength, then beef liver rebuilds you at the source, cell by cell. It's nature's original supplement, delivering everything your body struggles to extract from modern processed foods. Of course, moderation matters. Liver is so nutrient-dense that 1 to 2 servings per week is plenty. And preparation is key. Gently sautéed with onions, slow-cooked in stews, or blended into pâtés makes it surprisingly enjoyable, even for those who were hesitant at first. The truth is, beef liver doesn't just nourish, it restores. For seniors who feel like they're running on empty, it offers foundational support at a time when your body needs it most. And unlike pills or powders, it comes from a real, whole food source your ancestors relied on for centuries. Still, as powerful as these 3 meats are salmon, chicken, and liver, what matters just as much is knowing what to avoid. Because even one poor choice, repeated over time, can quietly undo the progress you've made. So let's bring it all together and reflect on the key lesson. In your 60s, 70s, and beyond, every bite either builds your health or chips away at it. Let's move to the final section and talk about what it all means for your daily life and how to move forward from here with strength, purpose, and clarity. So now that we've taken a closer look at the meats quietly harming your body and the ones quietly healing it, you're left with something far more powerful than fear. You're left with choice. After age 65, every bite becomes more than just a moment of flavor. It becomes a vote. A vote for clarity or confusion. A vote for circulation or stiffness. A vote for years gained or quietly lost. And here's the truth. Most seniors don't realize the impact of their food choices until their energy fades, their memory slips, or their independence starts to feel like a thing of the past. But by then, the damage is harder to reverse. That's why the small decisions you make now matter so much more than ever. You don't need to follow a complicated diet. You don't need to give up joy or tradition. You simply need to let go of the meats that chip away at your health, like bacon, processed cold cuts, and industrial red meats, and embrace the ones that work with your aging body, not against it. Think of wild-caught salmon for your brain and heart, free-range chicken for your strength and balance, and grass-fed beef liver to rebuild you from within. These foods aren't just nutrients, they're tools for staying sharp, active, and free. I've watched patients who made small, smart swaps reclaim energy they thought was lost forever. And you can do the same. If you've made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you, and I'd love to hear from you. Backhand index pointing right, drop a comment below and tell us, which of these meats do you eat regularly? Which one will you now avoid or try for the first time? Let's start a conversation. Speech balloon your story could help someone else just like you. And if this video helped you think differently about what's on your plate, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you care about. Because aging well isn't a secret, it's a shared journey. And it begins with the wisdom to act, the courage to change, and the hope that your best years are still ahead. The food you eat isn't just feeding your body, it's shaping your future. And while you can't control everything about aging, you can absolutely control what's on your fork. So choose wisely. Choose with intention. And remember, in the end, you'll always pay a price, whether in health or in disease. The question is, which one are you choosing today?